Fernando Pessoa once said, "To pretend is to know oneself." A contradiction on the surface. But within that contradiction lies a profound truth. Pessoa didn't believe in the self as a singular, solid identity. He believed we wear masks, not to deceive others but to function. We create personas because the world demands them. The professional mask, the social mask, even the spiritual one. Each designed not to reveal but to survive. But here's the paradox. The more self-aware you become of these masks, the more you realize that the real you is nowhere to be found. You start to question, am I the person I show to others? Or the one hiding underneath? And when you strip away every layer, what remains? The anxiety of multiplicity. Pessoa famously invented heteronyms, fictional characters with their own biographies, writing styles, even philosophies. Why? Because he saw the self not as one, but as many. Each of us holds multitudes. We think one way in solitude, another when in love, and yet another when we're hurt. This psychological multiplicity is real. Carl Jung called it the shadow, the unintegrated part of the psyche. Pessoa took it further, he turned the shadow into literature. But the cost of such awareness is fragmentation. You begin to feel like a stranger to yourself. Not broken but dispersed. And in trying to reconcile all those selves you begin to feel, nothing fits. The prison of introspection. In a world obsessed with productivity and performance, self-awareness sounds like a gift. But for Pessoa, it was a form of slow suffocation. He wrote, "I feel as if I'm always on the verge of awakening. Always aware, always observing. Never fully being." This is the paradox. When you look too deeply within, life begins to pass you by. You become the spectator of your own existence. Detached. Analytical. Numb. The danger of excessive introspection is that it can paralyze action. You know too much to act freely, yet too little to feel whole. Freedom or fatalism. Pessoa understood that awareness without acceptance leads to despair. You become trapped in an endless loop, analyzing your thoughts, your behavior, your motives. And the more you analyze, the more uncertain you feel. Freedom then becomes fatalism. You stop trusting your instincts. You second-guess every emotion. You intellectualize love, joy, even grief, until nothing feels real. So what's the way out? Not ignorance, but surrender. The Stoics said, focus only on what you can control. Pessoa would argue, you can't even control who you are. So stop trying. Becoming comfortable with contradiction. Pessoa wrote under names like Álvaro de Campos and Ricardo Reis, each with conflicting views. One romantic, one nihilist. One rational, one emotional. He didn't see contradiction as a flaw. He saw it as the human condition. Modern psychology agrees. Cognitive dissonance, the ability to hold opposing beliefs, isn't a sign of madness but maturity. To be aware of your contradictions, and still live. To know that you're both brave and afraid. Kind and selfish. Loud and silent. This is where wisdom begins. The weight of infinite selves. Fernando Pessoa didn't just write as himself. He created entire lives through his heteronyms, each with their own style, beliefs, and emotions. Why? Because he understood a truth we often avoid. The self is not singular. It's a collection of competing voices, each pulling us in different directions. The paradox? We crave authenticity, yet we are many things at once. This fragmentation is both liberating and exhausting. In a world that demands a clear, solid identity, Pessoa reminds us that the truest self might actually be the one that holds all selves without collapsing into one. The role of isolation. Self-awareness often leads to isolation, not because others exile you but because you begin to exile yourself. Pessoa lived most of his life in solitude. Not because he hated people but because the noise of the world made his internal voices harder to hear. In that solitude he created entire universes. But he also suffered. This is the bittersweet truth. Introspection deepens your soul, but it can shrink your life. You must learn when to turn inward, and when to rejoin the world. The paradox of expression. Pessoa longed to express himself, but doubted if anyone would ever truly understand. He wrote, "To say something is to lose it." In other words, as soon as you speak a thought, it becomes limited, distorted. Modern philosophers like Wittgenstein echoed this. Language is imperfect. It can never fully capture experience. So, we become alienated, not just from others but from ourselves. We feel things we can't explain. We desire things we can't name. And so we suffer in silence. The ultimate irony of awareness. Here's the cruelest twist of all. The more you seek self-knowledge, the more distant it becomes. It's like chasing your own shadow. The moment you turn to catch it, it slips behind you. Pessoa embodied this pursuit. He wrote endlessly about identity but never defined his own. He died as a mystery, to others and to himself. But maybe that's the point. Maybe self-awareness isn't about arriving at truth. Maybe it's about dancing with the unknown. The mirror is not the truth. In today's world of endless self-reflection, personality tests, therapy, self-help books, we often believe that knowing more about ourselves leads to peace. But Pessoa warns us, the mirror only shows a version of you, not the whole. Just as a poem cannot contain the soul of the poet, your reflection, your persona, cannot contain the entirety of your being. Self-awareness is a mirror that keeps changing depending on who's looking, when, and why. The danger isn't just that we're misunderstood by others. The real danger is that we might begin to believe the mask we wear, forgetting that the self is not a fixed point but a moving current. What can we learn? We live in an age where self-awareness is commodified. Self-help books, mindfulness apps, therapy, promising clarity and control. But Pessoa warns us, awareness without grounding is a storm. You must build something inside, or you'll be consumed by your own reflections. So here's what you can do. Accept your contradictions. Recognize that not everything needs to be understood. Learn to act even when you're uncertain. Speak your truth even if it feels incomplete. Because perfection isn't the goal, integrity is. Final thoughts. Pessoa once said, "I'm nothing. I'll always be nothing. I can't want to be anything. But I have in me all the dreams of the world." That line isn't despair, it's freedom. Because when you no longer chase identity, you begin to live authentically. Not as one version of yourself, but as a chorus of many voices. And in that harmony you find meaning. You don't need to fully know yourself to live fully. You just need to stop running from the truth, that we're all becoming always. If this video stirred something inside you, if it made you question, reflect, or feel seen, then this channel is for you. Subscribe, not just for more videos, but to be part of a community that values depth over noise. Here we don't chase answers. We explore the questions. And remember, you don't find yourself by standing still, you find yourself by witnessing who you become when life moves you. So hit that subscribe button and let's keep searching, together.